Welcome to your first communication intensive assignment. So this is about your job application package. I'm going to go over writing for different audiences, briefly review chapter 15, go over some examples, and as always, give you some tips. So writing for different audiences. I get some students who you already know exactly what job you're getting. I've already got a job application. I'm just going to turn that one in and call it good. So actually, no, you can't do that. Writing for different audiences is about adjusting your mindset and thinking and assignments in this case to who you're writing for. If you say you already have a job application and it's ready to go, great, turn it in. That's awesome. Okay. If you want some feedback on it, email it to me. I'll give you some feedback. Okay. But this assignment is about thinking about, okay, what does that job application package look like? Who's it for? And what if you don't get that job? What if you decide to apply for another one in like 3 years? Okay, you're practicing formatting. You're practicing formatting for a specific audience. You're practicing having multiple drafts and using a source document, in this case, the textbook, okay, to make sure that you have everything you need. For example, I have lost track of how many different versions, formats, purposes I have for my resume. I make a minimum of 3 every single year, and they're different. They're all different. They have to look different. They have to focus on different things, and you guys need to get used to doing that. So you can take a lot of the same information and reformat it, but yeah, you do need to actually consider your audience, which in this case, sorry, it's me, but you need to consider audience and purpose with everything. So we focus on chapter 15 quite a bit for this one, writing in the technical fields. Yeah, it is the last chapter in the textbook. We are starting with the last one. And just as I talked about in the previous slide, this is all about format. What does it physically look like? Get rid of your fancy sidebars, get rid of your pictures, get rid of your color. Okay, sorry, it needs to be black and white. The textbook has several examples of what a job application package actually looks like, and it'll take little snippets of it and have arrows pointing to different things and say, this is what your header looks like, this is what your section looks like, these are what bullet points look like. Okay, and you want to pay attention to those format elements to it. And then it goes over parts of a resume. You need a letterhead, career objective, skills and qualifications, education, experience, honors and awards, activities, interests, memberships, and references. And I'll talk about references in a minute here. Then the chapter goes into organization. What I would like you guys to do, and the chapter does talk about this, there's a little paragraph after it goes over organization that says your organization will look different if you are a college student for entry-level positions. And guess what? You are a college student going for entry-level positions. So in that case, you have your letterhead, then you have your career objective, and then you need education next. Then experience, and then it doesn't matter what order the rest of them go in. Okay, I would stick to the order that then you would put according to the first bullet point. And so it'd go letterhead, career objective, education, experience, skills and qualifications, honors and awards, activities and interests, memberships and references. That is my recommendation. And there's an example on Canvas, and I'll go over it here in a minute. So then there's some sections on formatting, wording, and examples. Super useful, obviously. Go through the textbook. And then it breaks off into the next category, and that's the application letter, also known as a cover letter, also known as a letter of intent. Okay, it's known as several different things. It's one page. And it has 4 paragraphs to it. It has an introductory paragraph, an education paragraph, an experience paragraph, and a concluding paragraph. This one doesn't matter on order so much, except that obviously introduction goes first and conclusion goes last, okay? But your education and experience paragraph can be interchangeable in this case simply because it is short. It's 1 page. And then there's a section about finding job openings, okay? If you don't get through much else in chapter 15 other than looking at the format and going, okay, I need it to look like this, if there's one other thing you pay attention to, have it be this. Okay, pages 266 to 267 discuss words that you should put in your resume in order to get through AI. So in especially aviation and especially in very competitive job markets, you're going to have one position and 200 people apply. And the job of AI is to get that down to 50. So 150 people are not even going to make it to the HR person's desk. This section talks about what wording to put into your resume and how to get the correct wording so that you can get through those AI algorithms. Okay. There's a section that's actually called Wording of a Resume. It starts on the bottom of page 266 and goes over to 267, and then there's a graphic on 267 that says in the field. Pay attention to those ones, okay? This is what your actual assignment looks like. I'm not going to read through all of the directions, but underneath assignments, it shows you have to have all of those sections that I just talked about, and in the objectives, you have to demonstrate utilizing application skills and writing technical skills. And then under readings, obviously you've got this lecture, but you have chapter 15. So in other words, you have to show that you can use chapter 15 in order to create a job application package. And then number 3 is an actual example. This is what a cover letter looks like. And again, as with most things in this class, a lot of my examples are going to be drone related because that's what I teach. So this is an example of a letter of intent, application letter, whatever you want to call it. And it's an excellent example. And then this is an example of what your resume would look like. Again, excellent example. It goes mostly in the correct order. He switched education and experience, but in this case, it's not a super horrible thing just because of the specific job that this person wanted to use this for. Again, audience and purpose. Okay, you can talk to me about it if you have questions. But down at the bottom, references. Okay, and the textbook does touch on this a little bit. Do not put upon request. Put actual references. Okay, you need to name, position, their phone number, and their email address. If you put upon request, that makes employers think, okay, this person doesn't want me to get a hold of anybody, and they'll just move right by you. Okay, you have to put legit human beings there. Don't do upon request, have 3 to 5. And obviously don't do family members of any kind. Okay, again, great example. It is in the actual assignment itself. Pull it up, use it, helps you with formatting. My top 3 tips, I actually only have one. If you don't have experience or volunteer hours, get some. Okay, you have to get volunteer hours to get any kind of a job at all. People need to know that you're willing to do more than just work. Sorry. Anyway, the top 2 places I have for you to get those volunteer hours and opportunities are through Aggie Drone Academy. I've got B-Dub's email address on there, Professor Barstow, okay? And then Mike Logan, his email address is also on there for you guys to go get some of those experiences. So, as always, let me know if you guys have any questions.